Hello, welcome again. It's Ivy Rose, and this evening I am going to is the second video I'm shooting this evening. I am really in very high spirits today. This second video, remember the month of June, it is all about relationships. Like I always say, I am passionate about the family unit. I am passionate about relationships. I just talk about things that affect us in the society and all of that. The last video was about loneliness. This one, it's about relationships that we build with our children and how these relationships can bring out the best in these children. So the title of this is bringing out the best in our children or in your kids. Parenting, like I always say, is such a tough job. It is one of those jobs that you learn on the job, and you can only learn from the mistakes that you've made. You can celebrate the wins every day. You can celebrate the little achievements that you make as a parent. There are tears sometimes, there is joy sometimes, there's huge celebration sometimes, and sometimes there is just outright tiredness and you just want to cover up your head and sleep. But we are still in the game, and that is what counts. That is what matters. After sleeping, you wake up and you carry on with it. So children are a blessing from God. That is what I believe, that children are a blessing from God. And I also believe that they are a tool to help to teach us unselfishness. Because children are the most unselfish people that you can ever come across. If you say to me that that child is selfish, that is a learned behavior. It is not a behavior the child was born with. Children are not born selfish. They eventually learn some of these behaviors. So, due to the fact that it is a tool, children are a tool. I'm not saying they are a tool, but obviously having children in your lives, that is a tool to teach you unselfishness. But therefore, everyone needs children. I'm not talking about biological children necessarily. If they are biological children, that's fine. They could be your godchildren. They could be your nieces, your nephews, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. You could be working with children just like I do on a day-to-day basis. So, you see, it does not have to be a biological child. It could be any child that you interact with on a day-to-day basis, or once in a while, really. So how then can we build these relationships with these children in our lives to bring out the best in them? I have got here about 5 things. One of my videos previously talked about parenting, and it said a parent has 2 roles, a nurture role and a structure role. Okay? And in the nurture role, I did say you have to love your children. So the first thing I think that can help to bring out the best in our children is accepting that our children are unique individuals, celebrating their individuality, okay? Recognizing and celebrating their individuality. Now, if you have more than one child in your life, you would know that no 2 children are the same. Both of these children or all of your children are unique individuals. They are special. They are special in their own little, weird, quirky ways. And we have to celebrate that. You cannot treat all your children the same if they are individuals. If you're celebrating their individuality, that means you cannot treat all of them the same. And I know that children often say, "Oh, mommy, that is not fair. You did such and such for A and you did not do it for C." But fairness is not treating everyone the same. I differ with that. I believe that being fair is treating everyone equally. Not the same, not necessarily, but equally. So we're talking about equality here and not sameness. They're not your carbon copies. They may look like you, they may talk like you, they may sound like you, but they are not carbon copies of you. And that means you will have to accept that, even though I am a medical doctor, I can accept that little Johnny is going to grow up to become a musician or a therapist or something else entirely different from the medical field. So there is no point in insisting that our children be like us. The second thing is to affirm their value constantly. We all, as human beings, we seek to be affirmed. It's almost as if we have a cup that needs to be constantly filled with affirmation. And just like our cups are filled with affirmations, sometimes there are things that take out that affirmation, that take out that goodness from that cup. And we need to constantly refill it. And if you imagine a situation whereby your cup has a little bit of a hole on the bottom, that means your affirmation is leaking out, and therefore you need to constantly put some more in. And that means these affirmations have a power over our lives. Some people need it more than others. So some of your children will need to be affirmed more than others. Some children will take one affirmation and run with it. Other children will need 5, which goes back to that issue of children being unique and individuals. So, why then am I saying that our kids are so valuable that we have to affirm them? That is because God custom made each individual child on earth. God custom made your children with potential, with individual talent and an individual purpose for each child. And there is someone out there that child's purpose is going to serve. Secondly, our children are so valuable because they are worth dying for. You may be asking, or you may be saying, I'm not dying for my child. No, not you. Jesus Christ died on the cross for you and I and for our children. Therefore, as children of God, we are worth dying for. Your children are worth dying for. So that means they are very valuable. So how do you affirm your children? You pay attention to them. And when I talk of attention here, I mean active listening. There are times when I come back from work and I'm quickly trying to make dinner and Abby runs into the kitchen and she's like, Mommy, I had this day, I did this, I did that. And I just keep saying, all right, darling. Yes, darling. Yes, darling. At the end of the conversation, guess what Abby asked me? Mommy, did you hear what I said? That just goes to say that she knows that I wasn't actively listening to her. The moment she says that, I know that she has picked up that I was not actively listening. I could hear her, but I wasn't actively listening. So I was listening to respond. I wasn't listening to understand. And active listening is listening to understand, not listening to respond. After understanding, there may be a response. However, there is that aspect of understanding. The second way you can affirm your children is through physical affection. Give them a hug. And I know that there are certain times when, like when my son turned 10, he didn't want anything to do with hugs. Ruffle their hair. That is physical affection. A tap on the back. Some children do not like hugs, but you can do a tap on the back. You can ruffle the hair. You can come up with your own way of physical affection, an appropriate way of physical affection for that child. Now, I often say, I work with children, and physical affection is one of the things that is so important in building the self-esteem of a child. Appreciation. Show appreciation for your children. If they help out with housework, show appreciation. They may be their chores, yes, but show some appreciation that actually you did a good job at doing this chore. A word of thanks or a word of appreciation, it does wonders for children. It makes them want to do more, actually. So, the third thing in trying to bring out the best in our children is trusting them. We need to trust our children. Trust them from even a very young age. Trust them with little. Give them £5. Give them £1 to manage. Give them £5. Trust them with routines. Trust them with tidying up their things. Trust them with telling you the truth, with the fact that they are going to tell you the truth about what is happening. Trust them with material possessions. Trust them with even things that are not theirs. Give them something and say, this is something that is really valuable to such and such a person. Could you keep this really well, please? Give them that responsibility, because every time you take that responsibility away from them, what you're saying is, I do not trust you to handle this situation. Allow them to fail. It will build a strength of character in them. It is all right for children to fail sometimes, you know. They would learn from their failures. The fourth one is correct them without condemning them. This is so key. Because correction is to do with discipline, and condemning is to do with punishing. When you discipline a child or when you correct a child, the focus of that discipline is on molding, amending future characteristics of that child. You are trying to build a holistic person. But when you punish the child, you're focusing on the past. So correction is to do with what happened that wasn't right. Punishment is to do with who did it. So if you know that you are not very good at managing anger, then maybe correct the child when you are less angry or when you are not angry anymore. Because if you correct when you're angry, you may change the behavior, but you may harm the relationship. Remember, you want to build a relationship with a child that shows mutual respect, that shows trust, that shows honesty. All the things that you want your child to have, you need to be modeling them to the child. Choose your words carefully when you are correcting your child. For example, I am disappointed at this behavior. No, I am disappointed in you. Why did you deem it fit to do such and such? Have a conversation with the child. Understand their point of view. Understand where they are coming from, the rationale behind that behavior. Sometimes it just puts things in perspective. And finally, love your children fiercely. Love them unconditionally. They grow so quickly, so fast. Before you know it, they are out of your house and gone. and you're living all by yourself with your spouse or with your partner or all by yourself. So you see, you need to love them fiercely whilst they are with you. Forgive them often and do not give up on them. Whatever happens, do not give up on them. They are yours after all. I know that children that I've interacted with at my place of work, the ones whom I've not given up on, even when they are being very difficult, they do come back later and say, Miss, thank you. Thank you did not give up on me. So, all of these things and many others that you will realize that you will come up with, you may come up with as you interact with the children in your lives. They will help to bring out the best in the children that you have in your lives. I hope this is helpful for you, and I hope that you found this useful and you got something from it. Do not forget to subscribe. Please click on the subscribe button and leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think about this. What is it that you are doing to bring out the best in the children in your lives? Please do share. Ask your questions. Write your comments down below. Have a lovely, lovely evening. Bye.